Landing at number 10 is Ibo Noma, a 4.5-star end from Baltimore. He's considering the Terps as well as Alabama, Michigan, Penn State, and Texas. Tom, does he stay in state and play for Maryland?
They're hoping so, because they put a lot of time and effort into him. And St. Francis is now the budding team in the Baltimore area since Biff Poggi and Bill McGregor left Gilman High School and started developing that program. He's got the length, 24 sacks last year for St. Francis. So he's a ball player that he could move up this list within the next 6-7 months once he gets a little bit bigger and stronger, because he looks real thin right now, but he's got that great burst towards the ball, and he's a terrific pass rusher right now. Maybe not great run stuffer, but a terrific pass rusher.
All right, put him on the outside. At number 9 is Ronnie Perkins, 99th overall. He's a Missouri native, considering a pair of Tiger schools, Mizzou and LSU, plus Michigan, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. Tom, where do you think he lands?
Well, again, Michigan, Oklahoma are doing a real good job. Mizzou's struggling to keep a lot of these guys in state. It's the best year I've seen in St. Louis, maybe the past 10, 15, 20 years even, especially with defensive linemen. Ronnie Perkins is an outstanding defensive end, and he's got everybody nationally coming after him. And Oklahoma and Michigan have made a major push in there. But the Missouri Tigers know that they've got to keep a couple of these guys at home or it's going to look pretty bad. Not just for the public eye, but also on the football team, not having these kind of great pass rushers.
Sure, although St. Louis could be closer to schools in other states than it is even to Columbia, Missouri. Number 8, we have Tyreke Smith, an Ohio native, has a litany of schools after him, including the in-state Buckeyes, along with Alabama, Oregon, Penn State, and USC. All over the place, Tom. Which heavyweight has the lead, you think?
I think it's always been Ohio State with him, and I went and saw him as a sophomore because he had a great wide receiver on his team as a junior, and his coach has done a real good job of developing ball players there on the eastern part of the Cleveland area. I really liked him a lot as a ball player. His coach, Coach Max Stevens, I think talking to him, I think Ohio State was the school, but you watch him play, he comes off the edge well too, but he also has the kind of frame that could grow into a defensive tackle. Right now he's the top defensive end in Ohio and perhaps even in the Midwest.
Wow, high building right there. At number 7, we have KJ Henry, 87th overall in the class. He's a North Carolina native, considering Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Virginia Tech. So, Tom, looks like he's looking to stay in the Southeast.
He sure is, and you know, early on, again, it shows you how things can change. Recruiting is has such a fluid landscape. He was looking at North Carolina. They're having sort of a bad year right now on the field. So now he's starting to look around the SEC and the ACC, and who knows where he's going to land. But he may be, in my opinion, the best player in the state of North Carolina. I was really impressed with his overall game and his size. He carries his weight well, and he's another guy that could possibly grow into a defensive tackle. But right now, I consider him to be the top player in the state of North Carolina. Yeah,
quite a first step he has there, too, right off the snap. Landing at number 6 is Malcolm Lamar, 79th overall in the class. He is from Florida. He's headed cross-country to play at Oregon. Willie Taggart must have had a beat on this guy before he left for the Ducks, Tom.
Well, Willie Taggart, you know, being right there in Tampa, and that's where Lamar is. Lamar's coach, Sean Callahan, brought him to meet me about a year ago and said, Tom, he could become the best defensive lineman this school's ever produced. And they produced some pretty good ball players, but he said he needs to become more consistent. This year he's become more consistent. He's developed himself into an All-American. Taggart had already offered him at USF, and then when he moved to Oregon, they made sure that he was one of the first guys they offered from the Tampa area, and I think they got themselves a future star.
Landing at number 5, this one I think gets interesting. You have Greg Emerson, the 41st overall player in the class. He's a Tennessee native, so regardless of who the coach is, kids from Tennessee want to play for the Vols. He's committed to the Vols. A lot of noise around the program, of course, with the losses piling up for Butch Jones. Is it fair to wonder if he stays, Tom, or do you think he's just a Tennessee guy, period?
Well, you know, he's in the Memphis area, which means Alabama's closer, Ole Miss is closer, Arkansas is closer. His high school coach is Donnie Nicky, who is a defensive back at Ohio State a few years ago. So never rule out even the Buckeyes maybe coming in and making a move on him a little bit later. But I think right now, talking to him, he was committed about a week before I went down to see him, and he told me that he grew up as a big Vol fan. But the way things are going right now with Tennessee, I think if Butch goes, then I think Greg is definitely going to open up his recruiting.
At least open it up. Might end up right back there in Knoxville when it's all said and done, though, anyway. Okay, landing at number 4, we have Tyler Friday, number 31 overall. He's a Jersey native. All right. Considering a slew of Big Ten schools, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Rutgers, along with UCLA. Where does Friday end up spending his Saturdays, Tom Bazinga?
I think Tyler may wind up going to Michigan or Ohio State because, you know, Michigan's done a great job once they brought in the Paramus Catholic head coach over to coach at Michigan. Ohio State, Urban Meyer's always done a great job in the state of New Jersey. When I watched Tyler play last year, I went and saw him play head-to-head against Dorian Hardy, and Dorian's a two-way player, just really cleaned his clock. Tyler is an impact ball player. Again, he's a defensive end in high school. Watch him. When you see the way he's built, he could put on several more pounds and wind up playing defensive tackle. But right now, he's the best defensive end in the state of New Jersey.
How about that? All right, number 3, we have the 9th overall player in the class, meaning we have 3 defensive ends in the top 10 overall. Max Wright is his name. Now, he suffered a torn ACL earlier this season. Still a coveted prospect. Says he's staying close to home, though, to play for Kevin Sumlin and Texas A&M, Tom. So seems like Summy still has the influx of talent coming in.
He sure does. A&M, I think, you know, they're battling Texas for almost all the top players in the state this year. They're both doing a great job. Max Wright, when he's healthy, reminds me of Joey Bosa. He's got that great burst to the ball, super strong. He's very instinctive. He's as good against the run as he is against the pass. His overall game is one of the best in the country when it comes to defensive ends.
Yeah, and he's got the hair going, too. All right, number 2, we have Micah Parsons, 4th overall in the class. He is a Pennsylvania native. He is considering Penn State, along with Alabama, Georgia. This sounds like the top 5 in the rankings. Nebraska and Ohio State. How likely is he to stay home, though, and play for the Nittany Lions, Tom?
You know, Adam, he was committed to Penn State, and then he got out of that commitment. Normally when that happens, they're going to go elsewhere, and everybody kept saying he's going to wind up as an Ohio State Buckeye. Now that Penn State's having that phenomenal year, it's probably toss-up between Ohio State and Penn State. He may wind up back with Nittany Lions. He did switch high schools. Right now he switched commitments to, and so you never know. He could wind up being back in State College. But he's one of the 2 elite defensive ends this year that have enormous strength, speed, and overall athletic skills.
And the top defensive end in the class is Xavier Thomas. He's originally from South Carolina, playing his senior season at IMG Academy, but he's headed back to his home state to play for Clemson next year. Tell you what, Tom, they had a rough day against Syracuse, but Clemson is really rivaling Alabama now as D-line U.
They sure are. And you know what, Xavier, I went and saw him in Florence, South Carolina 2 years ago. Then I went down to IMG Academy and saw him this year. What makes him such a great player and our #1 defensive end, he runs a 4.5 40 at that, 260 pounds. This is a enormously talented athlete that comes along once every 2 or 3 years when it comes to the defensive ends. Sort of a shorter version of Jadeveon Clowney. He's got great pass rushing skills. He can outrun almost every single back he goes up against. He's got all the tools to become an elite difference maker at Clemson as a freshman.